Welcome back. I'm really looking forward to sharing this overview with you. I hope to do more overviews like this in the coming weeks and months. While it is an overview, it is also an opportunity to bring you new material as well. We've increasingly seen that Muhammad, or in its original form, Mahmed, is little more than a messianic title amongst many, and that it emerges out of a Messianic believer's religion, an offshoot of Judaism. Mahmed comes in many forms: Muhammad, Mahmed, Mahmet, Mahmud, Ahmad, Hamid. But there are others. Aziz, for example, that means praiseworthy, beloved, and also strong. Another is Mahdi. Another is Ali, the elevated one. Another is Al Farouk, the Saviour. Another one that we will see later is Mustafa. Rather than just focusing on the name or title of the Messiah, the caliphs took on names and titles based on their perceived virtues of their idolized Messiah. So we see a lot of caliphs took on those type of regnal names, and these are not obvious in their link to the messianic context, that they are often overlooked. They can apply equally to Allah, so I will treat it as white noise in the data. The use of the name of Muhammad, while based on the messianic title Mahmed, could be argued is based on an illiterate prophet of that name from the improbable oasis of Mecca. So that too, as unlikely as that seems, is also a form of white noise in the data. It is not totally irrelevant that the name is used so frequently, and I will acknowledge where it occurs, even while treating it as inconclusive evidence. What will be more significant are other forms of positing the Mahmed meaning of a Messiah, such as words that mean the beloved, the praised one, the chosen one, etc. So later I will pick out the messianic links amongst the caliphs' names, both regnal and personal, to get a sense of how much Islam is but a messianic Jewish offshoot, despite all the accretions that hide that fact. We have seen that there are multiple titles and names that have a messianic meaning. Here is an interesting Hebrew word, ma'amin, which means simply believer. It also has a specific use of relevance to this discussion. Ma'amin mesh'iki. It signifies a messianic believer, a messianic Jew. As an aside, in Arabic, amin means trustworthy, believable, or honest, essentially one worthy of belief. The ani ma'amin, meaning I believe, based on the 13 Principles of Faith written by Rambam, contains one creedal statement on the coming of the Messiah. I believe with complete faith in the coming of Mashiach, and although he may tarry, nevertheless I wait every day for him to come. So this is a credo that is said by many Jews, even in the morning time during their prayers. So obviously Jews are still waiting on the Messiah to come. But I'm going to suggest that this is exactly what Islam is doing as well. It's a messianic movement. There's confusion as to whether the Messiah has come already, is to come, is coming at the end of time, or, there's a bit of confusion around that, but it's essentially a messianic movement or messianic cult, depending on what way you want to term that. Now, the plural of the term is ma'amin meshikim. In the 7th century, we see frequent references to Mahmed or Mahmet. Hence, it is no surprise that the leaders of this group were known as commanders of the believers, Amir al-Mu'minin. Up to now, scholars gave al-Mu'minin a vague meaning of just believers, as if an ecumenical movement of liberally minded do-gooders existed in the 7th century. This is nonsense. There was a common belief in the imminent arrival of the Messiah, so it should be understood specifically as in the Hebrew term Mahamin Meshiki. Amir occurs once in the Bible, in Isaiah 17:6, and there means top or topmost, as in topmost bough of a tree. So, taking that into account, a more accurate translation of Amir al-Mu'minin might be head of the believers or top of the believers, something like that. Commander, as in commander of the believers, introduces a military meaning that doesn't exist in the word itself. Even Shoemaker, in his book Death of the Prophet, offers a lot of primary source evidence of messianic hopes in the 7th century, including the secrets of Rabbi Shimon ben Yohei, an apocalypse written sometime around the middle of the 8th century. When he cries aloud with frustration, asking if the Jews had not yet suffered enough oppression at the hands of Edom, that is, Rome, the angel Metatron comes to him and reassures him that God will use the Ishmaelites to free the Jews from Byzantine oppression. Do not be afraid, mortal, for the Holy One, blessed be He, is bringing about the kingdom of Ishmael only for the purpose of delivering you from that wicked one, that is, Edom or Rome. In accordance with His will, He shall raise up over them a prophet, and he will conquer the land for them, and they shall come and restore it with grandeur. Great enmity will exist between them and the children of Esau. End quote. I should just say in passing, if you're confused why Edom and Rome is being treated as the same thing, it's got to do with the idea that there were Jewish leaders who became Caesars in Rome, and this was mentioned by A.J. Juice in the paper that we did a series on there just recently. This delivering Israel from the wicked one is the essence of the Messiah's task. The apocalypse echoes a line from the Talmud. I quote, "He said, and I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel." So it's found in Talmud, Mas Gittin 56a. Again from Shoemaker, the revelation continues as Metatron responds to Rabbi Shimon's questions by equating Israel's liberation through this Ishmaelite prophet to the messianic deliverance foretold by Isaiah's vision of the two riders, Isaiah 21:6-7. This identification of Muhammad as the fulfillment of Jewish messianic hopes is remarkable, and it offers important corroboration of the Doctrina Jacobis report that the Saracen prophet was preaching the arrival of the anointed one who is to come, the Messiah. So there's a lot of evidence there, primary evidence, that really what was happening was a messianic cult, as it were. Shoemaker offers a lot more primary evidence of messianic expectations in the 7th century, but that should suffice for now. Let's look now at some of the caliphs' regnal names. Do any of their names have any hint of messianism? The first collection of caliphs, according to the Sin, are known as Rashidun, rightly guided. This is strongly messianic in nature. The Messiah is expected to be the guide. Related to this is the concept of the Mahdi. Literally, it means the guide, who is the Messiah who will come at the end of time to rid the world of evil. Abu Bakr's name means father of the young camel, according to one source I've seen. Perhaps this is an oblique reference again to Isaiah 21:7, when he sees chariots with teams of horses, riders on donkeys, or riders on camels, let him be alert, fully alert. Now, this is not to say that there was someone called Abu Bakr. It's just to point out that the name, the title, has a messianic connotation to it. If so, if this meaning of Abu Bakr is father of the young camel, it has an obscure messianic meaning to suggest that the time of the coming of the rider on the camel had arrived. Umar's title of Al-Faruq is clearly also messianic. It means savior, and we know this as it comes from Aramaic. The Sin hides this by saying it means distinguishes right from wrong, which is not entirely incorrect, but it obscures that this is the function of the Saviour to separate the goats and the sheep. The Saviour saves people by taking them away from the wicked, and the wicked away from the saved. Al-Faruq is definitely a messianic title. Ali, another figure in the tradition, has also got messianic connotations. If we look at the meaning of Ali, it means high, elevated, or champion. It is identical in form and meaning to the Hebrew word Eli. We only have to think of Jesus' words on the cross, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. And of course, the people who were beside Jesus said, oh, he's calling on Eli, because of the messianic connection with Eli. So Eli goes back to the high priest Eli in the biblical books of Samuel. The Messiah is associated with the temple, and so this can also be taken as a messianic reference. Let's look at the Umayyad caliphs. The ones that stick out as messianic are Abd al-Malik, literally servant of the king. Is this messianic in nature? Two ideas of the Messiah were that he would be a suffering servant and a conquering king. His coins declare him as the commander of the believers, or head of the believers, as we found out earlier, Amir al-Mu'minin, so potentially head of the Messianic believers. Suleiman ibn Abd al-Malik, 715 to 717 AD, is another contender. Suleiman is the Arabized form of Solomon. It couldn't be any more messianic. Literally, Solomon was King David's son. The Messiah is a descendant of King David. We also see there Umar ibn Abdal Aziz, which would be son of the servant of the Messiah. So that's another messianic reference found in the caliphs' names. Next, we will look at the Abbasid caliphs. Al-Mansur, meaning the victorious, is found amongst lists of the Mahmed's names and appellations, so it can be considered messianic. His son's regal name was Al-Mahdi, meaning the guide, so it too is messianic. The Mahdi is the one at the end of time to rid the world of evil. He reigned from 775 to 785 AD. For good measure, his personal name, Abu Abdallah Muhammad, carries the Mahmed title. His son took the title Al-Hadi, which, like Al-Mahdi, also means the guide, a clear messianic title. His personal name is Abu Muhammad Musa and carries, again, the messianic title Mahmed. The following caliph, Al-Rashid's regnal name means the righteous and can mean guide to the right path, i.e. this is consistent with a messianic meaning. He reigned from 786 to 809 AD. The Abbasid caliph from 809 to 813 was called Al-Amin and carries a similar meaning related to belief as Ma'amin. But it doesn't mean believer. It means devoted, honest, straightforward, trusty, worthy of belief, loyal, faithful, obedient, etc. It is found amongst titles for Mahmed, so is a messianic title. He also has the personal name of Muhammad, Mahmed being a messianic title. It is not surprising to find people taking on the Messianic title Mahmed as a personal name because they are Ma'amin Mesh'iki, Messianic believers. The following Caliph, al-Mamun, carries the same meaning as Amin. Caliph al-Mu'tasim's personal name was Abu Ishaq Muhammad, again the Mahmed Messianic title given in his name. Caliph al-Muntasir's regnal name, more fully al-Muntasir Bilal, means he who seeks victory in God, could be interpreted in a messianic sense. His personal name, Abu Ja'far Muhammad, also carries the Mahmed signifier. He reigned from 861 to 862. Caliph al-Musta'in doesn't have an obvious messianic meaning to his regnal name, but his personal name, Ahmad, is an alternative name for Mahmed, and his father's name is also Muhammad. He ruled from 862 to 866 when he was executed. After al-Musta'in, we see the presence of messianic belief in the variations in names for the Messiah in personal names for a series of caliphs. We have al-Mu'taz, 866 to 869 AD. His personal name was Abu Abdallah Muhammad. And then we have al-Mu'tadi, 869 to 870 AD. His personal name was Abu Isaac Muhammad. Al-Mu'tamid, 870 to 892. His personal name was Abul Abbas Ahmad. Again, we see that messianic title in his personal name. Al-Mu'tadid, 892 to 902 AD. And his personal name was Abul Abbas Ahmad, same as the previous caliph. Yes, same personal name, but different people. They had different parents. Then following that, we have al-Muqtafi, 902 to 908 AD. His personal name was Abu Muhammad Ali. So you have a double messianic title there. We also have al-Kahir. His personal name was Abu Mansur Muhammad. The messianic name remains popular even during the Mamluk Abbasid dynasty from 1261 to 1517 AD. So let's just peruse some of the personal names here of the various caliphs, and I will just basically focus on the messianic parts that are in the name. So if we take the al-Mustansir, personal name Abu al-Qasim Ahmed. So notice the Ahmed is the key messianic part there. What about Caliph al-Hakim I? You have Abu Abdullah Muhammad. And then we have al-Mustafil I, Abu Arabi Suleiman. If we look at al-Hakim II, his personal name is Abu al-Abbas Ahmad. We also have al-Mutawakil I, his personal name Abu Abdullah Muhammad. We also have al-Mutawakil I and his personal name Abu Abdullah Muhammad. If we move down then to al-Mutawakil I, his personal name Abu Abdullah Muhammad. We also have the reign of al-Mu'tadid II, his personal name Abu al-Fat Dawood. The Dawood bit is obviously a very clear messianic title because it's referring to David himself. Following him was al-Mustakfi II, Abu Arabi Suleiman, again the messianic name there. Later we have al-Mutawakil II, and the key part there, as you can see, is the Abdul Aziz. Aziz is a messianic title meaning something similar to beloved, praised one, strong, and so on. Al-Mutawakil III, his personal name was Muhammad, and I believe it's the same guy again. Al-Mutawakil III, personal name Muhammad. He might have been kicked off the throne and then came back again, as far as I can tell. Now, during the Ottoman period, the caliph names again showed a greater willingness to be openly Messianic. So if those names didn't seem obviously Messianic, I think in the Ottoman period it was an awful lot more obvious. So the first one would be there, Suleiman the First, from 1520 to 1566. Suleiman, same as Solomon, David's son, very Messianic. If we go down a little bit further, we have Machmed III, very Messianic again. Now, bear in mind that Mustafa is another Messianic title, and it means the chosen one. We see it showing up in Ottoman lists of caliphs. We have Ahmed I from 1603 to 1617. We have Mustafa I, the chosen one, 1617 to 1618. We have Mustafa I, 1622 to 1623. Now, it looks like that this is the same person, so bear in mind that sometimes they get removed and then they come back to rule another day. We also have Machmed IV, we have Suleiman II, Ahmed II, and Mustafa II. We also have Ahmed III, who ruled from 1703 to 1730. So we can see clearly that there's a very strong use of Messianic titles in these variation of names. We have Mahmud I, 1730 to 1754. We have Mustafa III from 1757 to 1774. We have Abdul Hamid I, Hamid being another Messianic title, similar to Muhammad and Mahmed and Mahmud, 1774 to 1789. Now, bear in mind that the full meaning of Majid in Arabic is glorious, praiseworthy, exalted. It has a very similar meaning to Mahmed, so bear that in mind, Majid. So continuing our list of caliphs, we have Mustafa IV, who ruled from 1807 to 1808, Mahmud II, who ruled from 1808 to 1839, Abdul Majid the First, remember Majid has a messianic meaning, ruled from 1839 to 1861, Abdul Aziz, 1861 to 1876. If you remember, Aziz also has a similar meaning to Mahmed. It's a messianic title. And then if we move on into the 20th century now, we have Abdul Hamid II from 1876 to 1909, Mahmed V, 1909 to 1918, and we have Mahmed VI from 1918 to 1922, and then Abdul Majid II, 1922 to 1924, all messianic names. Is Islam a messianic religion? I believe so. Tell me what you think. Leave your comments below. I'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye.